Then here we go. Hello, everybody. What is it? Episode 6 of the Phoenix Files. Jordan, unfortunately, cannot be joining us today, but much like life, the show goes on. Would either of you like to fill people in on what happened last week? I should talk into the mic.
Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna forget. I feel like Asako here should do that. I feel like I'm gonna forget stuff.
Okay, basic summary would be there was an issue brought to our attention regarding leaks from the office, and that we have to deal with them, or else some people are going to be fired. Um, Later on, but not directly in that, but relevant to that particular line of action, while searching through the void alongside one of his Tensai mentors, Sako basically discovered there's not just one route of information coming out of the office, there's two. He also discovered in that same session that the strange man who no one can remember his face is directly involved in the manufacture of powder, and that it is likely made from his blood. So terrible, terrible blasphemy. Uh, Meanwhile, our good friend was ambushed by the Ronin that keeps talking to him in random circumstances, the one that's likely Michigan, insisting to know why we leaked the information to their enemies. Which does make it fairly clear that the two routes of information are the route towards this particular Ronin and the route towards the strange man. Our friend challenged this Ronin to a duel, but they never showed up. Instead, there was a letter that clearly showed that the Ronin knows exactly who has possession of the supply of Geish powder. We headed out to the the Temple of the Seven Thunders, and started to investigate what was going on there. Turned out that the monks of Asano Wo had taken over the temple with the intent to do a ritual and were keeping people out, including the monks that lived in said temple. It was also discovered that this temple that they were being kept out of was not the original temple, the other having been supposedly struck by lightning several months before one constructed. Upon striking this particular individual, one of the monks of Sanowo with thunder, we gained access to the temple. Upon our investigations, it became pretty clear that the thunder spirit that had been seen there was not, in fact, something that existed, and the entire thing faked with Kaijin. The original temple was also likely blown up with Kaijin pepper. The ritual wasn't able to be stopped. There were some investigations done, but not a lot of information was gone, and after the ritual was completed, everything was washed away. There were two additional important factors that happened at the old temple. It's clear that there was a mass grave there of the children that disappearing from the area, but this mysterious dragon samurai who had come recently had clearly put them all to proper burial rites. He couldn't find the dragon samurai, but everyone was safe. Everyone was fine. He couldn't really figure out exactly what happened.
Very, very good. And so today's session takes up just minutes after the end of our last session, as Asako Hiroshi just had some memories coming back to him, and he wanted to take his boys aside and discuss it with them. But unfortunately, Shujinko, he just didn't get his vaccination, so once again he's fallen ill from his travels. He stayed out in the rain for too long, it looks like, so he's once again bedridden. Thanks to the wonders of modern medicine. So, Ken, take it away.
I would probably... Oh, I don't have any medical knowledge myself. So I can't particularly go look at him and determine this is not a bull. Which was the main thing I had intended to do, was go, hey, wait, I do have medicine. I do have medicine!
Yeah.
I was thinking of my other character. So while he's bedridden, I probably want to do a look over of him, check his wound, dress it, and while redressing his wound, see if that looks like a sword.
See if it looks like what?
Looks like a sword wound to me.
Oh.
And is Tasai okay with his comrade,
Yeah, of course.
We're all crabs here. Alright, why don't you make a medicine roll for me? Hot shot? Yeah, okay. That's definitely a sword wound. It's very clean. If he got gored by a boar, there'd be more tearing, and this one's a pretty clean cut.
After completing that particular redressing of wounds and everything, and wishing and praying to the kami for good health for our good friend, I'd come out and have a speak with Sal.
So I assume you tell me what you saw, like, was it like in your flashback or like void?
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, I'd be informing you that I have reason to believe our minds have been.
If what you say is true, then how could this feat have been done? What sort of sorcery would allow him to alter our minds like this?
I have not heard of such a thing. I do know what I recall. We were essentially told precisely what to say. It would appear that... Do you recall my mentioning previously a strange man that we encountered at the end?
Yes.
That you seemingly had no memory of.
I recall you saying as much.
I recall this particular man being involved. As far as I could tell, what happened in reality was that we, rather than encountering a boar, encountered our quarry in our search for the healer's side. Unfortunately, they were accompanied by significantly more skilled individuals than ourselves in combat. And I'm afraid that Shijenko's wound resulted from that.
And I would just like to interject and say that Tasai is the one that has the wound.
Oh, it's size. Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I have the wound.
I was mixing people. that the wound that you have was inflicted in. You have been stabbed with a katana. This was not the work of a boar.
So it would seem I lost in a combat in my duties here.
That may very well be so. What I find odd is the days that I seem to recall seeing you and Shajenko in, as you were instructed what to say.
How come you can remember Asako-san?
I know not. It suddenly came to me. In my memories, I myself was told to sit, and against my wishes comply. I also was told precisely what to say. But for whatever reason, I can recall brief moments of that particular exchange.
Do you remember the individuals we encountered then?
Once again, I cannot picture the face, no matter how hard I cut.
Can you recall the other individuals?
Can I recall the other individuals?
You can, and you know that they match the description of the two magistrates who took Sai away. Also, a woman matching Sai's description was also there.
I do remember, and they seem to be our mysterious office magistrate and Sai.
What do you suggest we do now with this information?
I am unsure precisely what we can do.
Could you possibly draw these individuals?
Ooh.
I must admit to not being a particularly skilled artist.
Roll that craft.
I understand, but perhaps it would be worth it.
I will attempt to do what I can.
Yes.
I make no promises of its quality.
I'm sure it will be of excellent quality. Out of character, this is going to be awesome.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed in how good that roll is.
Roll like a 2.
I wanted it to be something like.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah, and me too. I was getting ready to.
I was very tempted to basically say that I did draw stick figures.
Yeah, I was getting ready to like role play disappointment and confusion here.
So, Hiroshi goes, "Oh, I don't know if I can draw them." And 20 minutes later, he comes out with just like a beautiful water portrait.
Just like feigning humility.
Very proper of him. It's very polite.
Oh.
Why, that is excellent, Asako-san.
I must admit, this is much higher than the standard to which any previous attempts at such works have gone.
I'm sure you're just being modest.
Were you those instructors who attempted to teach me the ways of the court back in the dojo, I'm sure you would adamantly disagree.
With that, Isua smiles. Perhaps we can now have these images copied and circulated amongst other magistrates to be on the lookout for these criminals. Out of character, I assume it's, highly illegal for people to pose as clan magistrates.
Oh, yes.
Definitely. Go ahead and make a bureaucracy, an etiquette bureaucracy roll for me to get those wheels rolling. Be a TN 15. It seems pretty high priority to me.
Skills. I will spend 2 void points on this.
Okie doke.
Oh,
Okay. How much awareness do you have?
It's intelligence, isn't it?
Awareness normal.
And I think it's 3 dice either way. It's 3, but I get +1. Oh wait,
It's 2 void points.
yeah, it's 2 void points, and then I have on my character sheet it says it's going off of intelligence.
All right, I'll give it to you.
Should that be etiquette instead? Should that be awareness instead?
Yeah, it should be, but
Oh, because that would be 2 dice less.
that's chill. You still roll that 23, so.
Yeah, that 23 basically means you got it.
Yeah. Well, and yeah. So even if you take away my 2 highest dice, I still get like a 30. So.
So you take this portrait and you take it over to the Asako Gen's like office where all the the HQ for the magistrate business, as it were, and you go to the people that put out important documents like this, and you're like, hey, there's been 2 magistrates impersonating members of Office 34, and we need you get some artists to copy this down and get it circulated to all the main offices. And they're like, someone impersonating a magistrate? And they throw all their paperwork on the floor, and they're like, this goes straight to the top of the pile. And he gets it, and within a few minutes you see a few courtiers being brought into the office to start replicating your work, or replicating Hiroshi's work.
Oh no, I'm a famous artist now.
We're gonna have like an art gallery episode, and there's just gonna be the wanted poster on display.
I can't wait for Shujenko to get back, because I picture like we'll be in like different towns and we'll see these wanted posters, and I could say like, this is Asako's work.
Dutifully copied by.
Yeah, with that 71, just the greatest artists in the Empire came to circulate it. Very good. And next time you talk to Asako Gen, he'd be happy to discuss that work as well. So a week or so passes after these events go by, as you guys finished your caseload, so you get a little bit of time to relax and unload a little bit and follow up the loose ends of the cases you've been tackling, of which there are many. With Sakura Hiroshi, you get your your master sends you a letter saying that he was only able to study the children for a few days. Your observations about them were spot on. He wishes to contest your likening them to a kimono, and instead he suggests it's like when you get a bunch of red pebbles and you mix them in with a bunch of white petals, and then when you stand very far away from the entire conglomerate, it looks pink instead of red or white. He says that's the observation he's made up to the nature of the children currently. However, he also laments that his lord has called him in to assist on another magistrate's case, and that he won't be able to check in with the children for some time, and that this this came in very suddenly, and so he's very put out about it, but he's a dutiful samurai, so he's taken elsewhere for the moment. Additionally, the magistrate from Nikasake, who's investigating the Gaijin powder case, has delivered an information packet to Office 34 with some of her findings. They had the Gaijin pepper analyzed by some alchemists, and they concluded that it's not true Gaijin powder. It's not like a spiritually corrupted from it. It's basically what they found on the site was basically Phoenix Clan like firework powder that's had some of the like saltpeter and combustible elements added into it after the fact.
So is this the Gaijin pepper from which case is it?
This is when the children were being taken by the guy that could become invisible. And
Okay. So not the not like residue from the monastery.
correct.
Which I guess, yeah, we didn't turn that into a magistrate. So okay.
That's basically completely washed away at this point.
Well, it means that it kind of suggests that there isn't a connection between the two cases in regards to the Gaijin pepper anyway.
And the magistrate says, while she respects the opinion of Office 34, the fact that, this was firework powder that was converted into gunpowder, she finds it highly unlikely that this being came from another realm, and that this weapon manifested with him in this nature, and that they will be pursuing more terrestrial options.
Upon reading this, I'll look to Asako and I'll say, it seems this seems to reek of a cover-up to me.
Nonetheless, that particular matter did in fact fall outside our jurisdiction.
Indeed. I agree. It seems the case is closed either way.
Furthermore, as I have to start tying up some loose ends. The Asako family and the magistrates, of course, have reached out to the Dragon Clan, respectfully asking to have permission to have Miramoto Fong escorted into the Phoenix land so that they may question him about the inquiry he made into the Seven Thunders Temple. And so far, all like approaches at diplomacy have been, respectfully rebuffed. And it's, I don't know, make some sort of courtier etiquette roll to see if you guys can get a feeling for the nature of this certain situation. 21, very good. The way
So,
they're denying. Yes.
Courtier is awareness, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But an etiquette is awareness as well.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah,
Let me
they're both
change.
normally awareness.
So it's the same roll for me either way. Oh, that was I accidentally gave myself a -1 and it shouldn't have been. Let me re-roll that.
Marginally better. Asako Hiroshi, just by the virtue of having Asako in his name, despite not being a courtier or from a family of courtiers, you get the feeling that the way they're denying it, it's not that, oh, he's off working on a case, he's currently deployed somewhere. It just seems like they vehemently don't want to give a samurai over to the Phoenix clan at this time. And that they're, as politely as possible, saying that he's unable to make it at this time. So that's fun.
I'd relay that particular bit of insight.
That is disappointing.
And Asako-Jun has been, like, on everybody's case about getting this dragon samurai into the office so that they can talk to him, because he very much feels like it's the key to whatever was going on in the mountains. So he's been in a foul mood the last few weeks as the courtiers have failed to produce a key bit of testimony.
Well, it would seem the only other option then would be for us to go to them. However, that would probably put us behind in our caseload.
It was assuredly so. And would not necessarily be guaranteed anything resembling success. The dragon are a strange people. They tend to keep very much to themselves.
That has been my experience as well, which is why I have had limited encounters with them.
I've never truly seen it. I've merely heard word of them.
Well, perhaps in the future something more will turn up. Or if our caseload lessens, we could seek him out.
That would be ideal. It is very unsettling that there are questions regarding improper burial that occurred on the very grounds of a holy monastery.
I agree. Asako-san, I have heard stories of Shugenja who were gifted with the wind or air kami, and they have been able to send messages a great distance. Do you not have this ability?
I'm afraid that my gifts are much more strong with the void than with the kami. I do have some capability, although that one in particular spell is not one I am familiar with.
Well, out of character, Chris. So the means with which Asako Jun tried to communicate, or he wrote to like superiors or something within the Dragon Clan.
Correct.
Would it be possible then to just have we tried sending a message, like a courier, just for this particular samurai?
That might be seen as, improper, going under the nose of a lord. But if so, Asako Jun certainly couldn't do that officially. But if you guys wanted to try that,
that would. I don't think Asawa would recommend it. It seems like it would be. Yeah, I see now where it would be like, yeah, you're kind of trying to go over dragon leadership or whatever. Yeah. All right.
And we'd really be exceeding our authority.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's been the news since you guys have come between cases. But you've been informed that a new case is ready for you, and your boy's still sick, but case has got to get done, So you've been told to report to the magistrate's tower. Oh, and while I'm here, let me just delete that. There we go. It's a much cleaner board now. So as you guys are heading to the magistrate's tower, basically the guards who are cycling out on a weekly basis now, they all look very, very pale in the face as you guys approach, and as they snap to attention, they're like, "Sirs, you should be forewarned that there's a situation upstairs, and it's not dangerous. There's nothing nothing bad. I just think you should be prepared for an extreme situation."
What is it?
A member of the royal family, one of the royal families, has deigned to bless your office with his presence, and it was quite unexpected. Imperial family, not royal family.
Iswas clears his throat and kind of, I assume, would sort of like look down and kind of give himself a quick inspection and sort of make sure his uniform and outfit is sort of like very kind of clean, immaculate, and in proper order. And then he would open the door.
Okie doke. So sitting in your little crime lab area, As you guys enter, there is an Otomo sitting on a mat. It's a very plush mat. He has two bodyguards flanking him on either side. He looks very the height of courtly fashion, very expensive kimono. His hair's done up. He looks quite young. Just a very scary individual, as I assume every Otomo is, and he's fanning himself angrily as you guys come in. As soon as you enter, he snaps his fan shut and he says, "Well, it's about time. You've got some gall keeping me waiting in here in this disgusting place. You know Heenan live in the basement?" He's like, "I should have your entire office decommissioned for this insult." And
Iswa would bow very deeply.
There would be an appropriately deep bow from Asako as well.
And at that, he would rise and say, I am very sorry. I apologize for any inconvenience. We shall have this place cleaned at once.
he nods and says, "Good, see that you do."
I must additionally apologize for our tardiness, as evidently whoever is responsible for delivering messages did not deem it important to inform us of your arrival.
He shakes his head and he says, "Oh, well, your dear magistrate assured me my time would not be wasted." He sighs and he says, "Oh well, I'm here for the scroll concerning information on the case of the Seven Thunders Shrine. If you could turn that over to me immediately, that'd be ideal."
I assume it's in the office somewhere.
Yeah, you've got your little scroll rack.
Do I recognize this person?
Roll a heraldry roll if you'd like.
So that would basically just be a lore check, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll void point to pretend I have skill.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. Oops. What the heck? Okay. And do I want to take... No, I'm not going to take a raise.
No. He's, all you know about him is that he's an Otomo and he's here.
I'll kind of look at Asako and give him this look like, well, here goes. So I will grab the scroll and then I will say, "Forgive me for having to say this. However, our office has been under much difficulty of late, and I would just like to see if you have any kind of identification."
Go ahead and roll a courtier for that one.
You're going to have a much easier time with that than me.
I will double void point this. And take one raise.
Sako knows how to be polite. He doesn't know how to politely did you?
Hey! The first raise on anything, I feel like. That wasn't a spell.
I think Shujenko had taken a raise last week. I just keep forgetting. I'm so used to like systems where you don't have to declare before.
Yeah. He looks very like red-faced when you suggest this, but one of his guards like goes for his sword. He's like, "Oh, hold up there!" And so he pulls out from his long sleeve. He has a big, perfectly smooth ball of jade, which is the basically the badge of office for an Emerald Magistrate.
I nod at that and I say, I'm sorry, it's just we have had leaks within our office and other people forging paperwork and acting as imposters. We cannot be too careful, it seems.
He goes, "Oh, that was a shame. Asako-san assured me your office was operating at peak efficiency." Nevertheless, he unrolls the scroll, looks it over. He nods, satisfied after a quick purview of it, and he stuffs it in his jacket, and with that he pulls out a second scroll. He hands it to his guard, and the guard will go ahead and hand it to Isawa-sai, and he'll go, and then the Toma says, "And with that, our business is concluded."
Another appropriate deed bow.
Same.
And he heads out. And as you as you wait for him to leave, you look at the scroll he was given to you, and basically what it amounts to, it's like a Freedom of Information Act. So it's a document signed by an Otomo and by the Otomo office that's saying that they're giving you access to information that would normally be restricted to one of your station by the approval of one of the imperial families. And it's a one-use thing, but if you ever come into a situation where your clan's keeping information from you, you can just wave this in the face of the librarian and they'll retrieve the information that you want.
Ooh.
Schmancy.
Let's see. Case number 3, right?
5, I think, right?
No, for the one that you gave him. Yeah, this one is deleted. Boop. But yes, besides that scroll, you also have a new case file ready for you. So if one of you would like to read that out loud, we'll give it a go.
I don't mind. I have it open right here. Case number 5, Office 34, appointed by Assistant Chief Magistrate Asako Jun. Danger low, chance of escalation low. The town of Shiba's determination has reported that something is wrong with the river that flows through their town. According to reports, all the water that flows through their town has turned into honey, or at least a honey-like substance. Office 34 is to go to the town of Tengu's Peak for resupply before arriving at Shiba's determination. You're to find the source of the transformed water, and, if possible, return the river to balance.
There we go. Easy enough.
And then sounds simple. Just a river of honey, no big deal.
NBD.
I don't know why they'd want it to go back to water. I mean,
gotta grow plants, man.
I mean, honey will not quench your thirst. It will simply make you thirstier.
And so now we have a bunch of rolls that it looks like Asako's going to have to make. Except for the hunting roll, maybe.
You know, thankfully, other than the hunting roll, I am actually trained in those skills.
Yeah, that's. I figured as much when I looked at it.
For this week, unfortunately, you won't get the 1K1 bonus because your support staff has been axed.
Fired.
I will void point. I should have called raises.
Yo, these explosions today are very tight. So that was for lore kami / elements?
Yeah, elements.
Yo, you know that it's not unkami if it's not unkami. That was a great joke I didn't mean to make. It's not uncommon for if a kami's in a certain mood for it to like change the landscape around it for how it feels. Like an earth kami might cause an earthquake. So it's very possible that the water kami of the river have entered into some kind of mood that has caused them to turn it to honey.
You said the water kami?
Yeah.
Okay.
I will do this spellcraft now, which I will also void point, my last void point for the day. Unless I meditate. Oh, that's not a very good roll.
Oh, darn. That was the one I wanted you to make. I guess if I wanted you to make it, I wouldn't have made it a 20. You know, you're Void Shugenja. You can't really think of any spells that affect water kami. It's not your bag.
No. And water is the least strong ring I have, tied for fire.
Yeah.
So I assume I'm going to, I'll meditate beforehand, and then I'm going to use another 2 void points, and I will take 2 raises.
Cool. Oh my god. What strikes you weird about this entire case is that Tinger's Peak on the map is 3 days away from Shiba's determination, and it is not on the way. You're like going out of your way to go there, and then going out of your way again to get to Shiba's determination. There are many...
It's how many days away?
3 days out of the way of Shiba's determination. There are like plenty other villages and outposts you could go to on the way there that would make the trip a lot shorter. Ooh, I forgot to include this one. Will you include another, or will you roll an intelligence etiquette on this one?
Ooh.
Okay.
That seems like something Shiva should do.
Isawa. Surely you mean.
Yes, sorry.
Let me change. But while I'm remembering, so this doesn't happen again, I'm going to change. Hunting is perception, right?
I believe
Yes.
so.
And then you said etiquette?
Yes.
Intelligence. I will spend my last void point on this. And I will take 1 raise.
Yeah, boy.
My intelligence rolls are very good because of the Shiba ancestry.
Yeah, that's why I called you Shiva, was I remembered the ancestor.
It's also weird that in this document it specifically tells you what village you should go to for Supplies, usually they leave that up to your determination. They just tell you what town you have to go to, but this one specifically has like a route planned out for you.
Yeah, I'm wondering where these do I know where these case files come from?
All these case files are, at least to your knowledge, they all specifically come from Asako Gen.
And I guess the case file says as much.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it.
He like vets cases from every office, and then the ones that he thinks are suited for your office, he assigns to you.
I suppose there's a couple more lords there at the end that don't have numbers.
Oh yeah. The roll check at the very end, there's no number.
Oh, let's see. What could that... Oh, that's down to 15.
You probably will have more luck than it than me. I'm out of void points and don't have any of those lore.
So am I. I'm out of void points. I have the intelligence boost. And I don't think I have those.
God, I don't know if you remember this, Ken, but one of my favorite points of our campaign was like in the last episode, Chris was like, I finally used my last void point. And I was like, yes. But that's a tale for another day.
I have theology. Would that be applicable?
I do have that.
Okay. So let me roll intelligence. So I'm just rolling an untrained intelligence roll.
An untrained lore, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you done it. You know that. You know that a little bit far north of the town, there's kind of an obscure Shugenja school that like takes on a few charges at most, and it's completely possible that. Trying to think how to phrase this. They like focus on alchemy and stuff like that, so it's possible that they're dumping like chemicals into the river, which are causing the water to take on a honey-like substance. There's been plenty of cases of like a dojo that's practicing, research of the Shadowlands. They'll be by a river, and then like the river will turn to blood and stuff like that.
So that would probably mean maybe the dojo's practicing beekeeping.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. I relay that information. I also say it is curious that the case file specifies we must resupply at Tengu's Peak. Tengu's Peak is approximately 3 days out of the way of Shiba's determination.
That seems very, very inconvenient.
Do you think we should inquire with Chief Magistrate Asako regarding this? Perhaps there is an error in the paperwork. Though I do not mean to imply he's anything less than thorough.
This does seem wise. I do hope, though, that he is not particularly on edge, considering our recent visitor.
Perhaps it is best just to go there and not ask questions. I'm sure it is nothing.
Sounds great to me. And as you guys did all your research and you're feeling as prepared as you can to take on this case, Shiba Umbeyashi would actually like to take Asako Hiroshi aside for a minute and talk to him.
Very well.
And so, he pulls you into the closet and closes the door behind you. Thank you for talking to me, Mr. Hiroshi. I actually had some information about the leak in our office that I would like to share with you. Presuming, of course, you're able to keep confidences.
Provided such confidence does not bring me dishonor, I should think that it is entirely within means.
Very good. You mentioned that in your vision there was two sources of information leakage within our office. I'm one of them. He gives you a smile. I was placed in this office by Head Magistrate Asako Yuri, to apparently, according to the information I received, the previous office was looking into things inappropriate for their station. So the head magistrate assigned me to this office to, keep an eye on things and monitor back to her any direct information. So there is indeed a leak, and it's me, but I'm leaking information directly to our superior.
That is a most troubling situation. Nonetheless, I cannot rightly challenge the wisdom of the superior of my superior.
And I assure you I'm uncomfortable having undergone such subterfuge, but we obey.
May I ask precisely the manner in which you transit your information along?
Like the medium?
The medium as well as to whom it goes.
Oh, of course. He takes his notebook that he's always writing into. He's like, I take thorough notes over every case, and specifically, the squad members, how they're going about the mystery and how they perform. Then after that, I seal up the information into a letter, and then I deliver that letter myself to her office within Kyuden. Kyuden-Asawa.
I thank you for your enlightening me on this matter.
And
that does
go ahead.
Help narrow down precisely what is occurring.
He says, however, I do hope you can keep this matter secret. If everybody knew that, I'd prefer that you didn't even know, but if everybody knew that I was keeping tabs on them, that might engarter negative feelings about me. I prefer everybody think I'm incompetent and silent rather than a spy.
While I cannot fully embrace your methods, the fact you are doing this under orders of our master's master means I cannot fault you for doing so.
Ah, I appreciate that. Then with that in mind, let's go solve a bee case. He'll head out. And anything you guys would like to do or finish up before you guys head out?
Not that I can think of.
Cool.
I mostly want to trace in my void conspiracy board whether this information is in fact one of the routes that I saw before, or whether the fact that it is its normal route, it simply is part of it. Because there's always the possibility that this doesn't count as a leak as such.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, sure.
Communicate. That's a successful cat.
All right, so you're back in the vision. You're at the volcano, and as you recall, the lava, magma, flows up from the veins from the very ground. Which suddenly you're like, that could mean one of the members of the squad, and it gets pushed up through the main tube and goes directly to the top of the volcano before it explodes and fills over. So that certainly could be a metaphor for one of you giving information to a direct superior.
So the one that was one of the ones, sorry, just for clarity's sake. So one of the ones that did go out may actually be one of the legitimate routes.
Mm-hmm. And you'll actually notice that the other route looks just strikingly similar. It has a very similar methodology to the other one.
I suppose for my second question, I'd specifically, rather than looking for flows out of the office, trace the information in the journal and whether it flows to the head magistrate. Just to be sure that he's telling the truth of who he's spying for.
Yeah, you see. Gets that grainy look that a TV gets when you're rewinding a cassette. And you see Mr. Umbayashi walking through a crowded Kyudinasawa street as he heads towards the head magistrate's office within the castle. He slides open the door and the door to the office, and then slides it behind him as the door closes in on your vision. Letter in hand.
I'm unsure precisely how much that answers my question, just because the fact I'm specifically trying to discount the possibility that someone in the head magistrate's office is actually leaking it outside, and he's been duped into thinking he's spying for the head magistrate when he's not.
Oh, okay, I get you. And then the door opens up, and there is Osako Hiri, looking very interested in the details of the letters.
Okay, I'm a little more. I'm deeply embracing my paranoia for this campaign.
Hey, wise decision, man. I support it.
And I suppose that's the only thing I really had that I wanted to do before departing.
Cool.
Yeah, I still can't think of anything, so I think I'm good to go.
Awesome. Then we head off towards the north of the Empire. As once again, you guys find yourself going through rocky areas. Isawa, of course, is having a very hard time about this, as his side's giving him some trouble. Still permanently wounded. Life sucks. And you guys basically reach the fork in the road where there's a very nice trail that goes through rolling hills, and probably by the end of the day you'll arrive in the town you're assigned to. And then you look towards the right, which leads up the slope of a mountain and takes you 3 days out of your way to get to the place where you're going. And you all sigh heavily and put on your snowshoes as you start to head up the Rocky Mountain Trail. Until eventually you reach the Tengu's Peak, which is a small town on the side of the mountain. It's currently summer, so the mountains are mostly snow-free, except at the very top where they've got, permanent snow. So this town is poor and small, but, beautiful because it overlooks just all of the Empire from its height. It's very, very nice. And as you guys head into town, you are approached by 3 Ronin, basically.
Oh, boys.
These 3 Ronin have with them, mountaineering equipment, basically. They've got 3 packs themselves, kind of loaded up. They're full of supplies, and they, as you guys enter town, they all 3 bow very low to you, very respectfully. And they go, "Are you members of Office 34?
I look to Asako. Who is inquiring?
We are former associates of Assistant Magistrate Asako Jun. And he has assigned us to assist the office in their current case, if you are in fact these people."
We are. Why has he not told us about you?
Out from one of the bags, he pulls out a scroll that looks very familiar to you. It looks very similar to a case file that you guys normally have. He says, I believe he thinks that the current, that a certain duplicitous nature is needed to complete your present mission. I believe he wants to keep our involvement a secret.
Interesting. Why has he picked Ronin to do this?
Because we owe no allegiance to your clan, and therefore we don't answer to his superiors, which I believe is what he's concerned about.
Who do you answer to?
The almighty Koku.
Goku, but they're Ronin. They surely use what's the name of the coin?
The penny.
No, the one that's even smaller than that. The Foo.
The Fu, of course. The almighty Fu.
I look to Asako and once again, and I shrug. Well, do you have any objections?
This does explain why we were assigned to go to this particular place despite the inconvenience.
That would answer that. And Umbayashi, any objections?
He he looks rather confused, but he doesn't object.
Very well. And I'll look to the Ronin and I say, we look forward to your companionship and assistance.
And they say, "I'm sorry, Samurai-san. I think there might have been a misunderstanding. Asako-jun has hired us to look into the case that you are presently looking into." And he bows and he hands you the scroll that he took out previously. And he says, "And you are to begin working on this case."
I will open up the scroll.
I will give it to you. There you go.
Number 32. Iswa looks pretty confused at this, but I'll read this one again. Appointed by case number 32, office 34. Appointed by head magistrate Asako Yuri.
Yeah,
Danger.
The first word is literally a misspelling. I'm the best. Please continue.
Danger low, chance of escalation low. Due to the new standards expected of magistrates of the Phoeni-X clan, all core members of specialized offices are expected to take Master of Sports trials this winter. The 8 members of Office 34 are expected to complete the 3-week mountaineering trial in the Gaijin Pass area of the northern province. Supplies, maps, and gear will be provided at the town of origin, detailed below.
Yeah.
This is go ahead.
This does result in a significant contradiction between two sets of orders.
Certainly.
Does everything about the case check out?
Why don't you make that an intelligence investigation roll?
Okay. Is this the one in the
Case 32.
described in case 32? Okay. I didn't know if this was a separate roll or intelligence investigation. I will void point this and take 1 raise. Oh crap.
By the way, Cypher's a calligraphy emphasis, not an etiquette one.
Oh, I spelled cipher wrong too. Man, I'm stupid.
I noticed.
Chipper.
I didn't want to say anything.
It was a rush job. Yeah, unfortunately, by calling that raise, you kneecapped yourself. And, yeah, it sounds... definitely sounds a little off.
My rolls have finally caught up to me, it would seem.
Yeah.
2 1s on that one.
I'll
But
attempt it, but it probably won't succeed.
you will.
I
Very good. You got it. You notice, reading through this, everything seems correct. It's all official. This document is actually, it's official. It's got the stamp on it and everything. It's got the seal. This document is actually older than any of the documents that you've gotten previously.
This seems very old.
So, not out of character, none of our documents are dated.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that was part of the information. I just completely forgot to give it.
Well, go ahead.
I just don't want to bother with the Rokugani date.
Yeah.
So this is
So-
dated for the start of last winter. So the winter
Right,
that
that's
just
what I was-
passed.
Yeah. Okay. Well, of course it does. That's out of character. Issa's jealousy flaw. It would seem that perhaps this is a case file belonging to the prior members of Office 34. Perhaps this shall shed some light on the questionable history, questionable recent history of our office.
Umeyashi's like, squints his eyes and he's like, "Are you sure we should be taking cases from Ronin?" No offense to the Ronin.
As Asako-san has stated, it appears official in every way.
Well, so did the magistrates that took away a key witness from a case.
That is true.
Looks like this is spellcraft. Why should make it? I opened my case. No, I had the wrong case open. So cipher is actually calligraphy.
That's right. That's right.
So should I? Okay, just wanted to confirm. I will void point.
Ken, I think you're confused. This is actually a chipper roll, which falls under etiquette. So
I see.
it's to appear
I
happier
guess
than you are.
Oh, what a shitty roll.
I also rolled poorly.
You know, you're away from the library. You're out of your element. This was kind of thrown onto you. It's kind of hard for you guys to analyze all the facts so quickly.
Or at all.
I'll make the other calligraphy one, but I don't foresee it going any better, especially since the entire.
This is the one. This is the one you make. All right.
Yeah, he used all of his luck on that 21.
That's basically you guys just like not being able to summon up any like questions about this document, and you kind of just take it at face value, other than noticing that it probably belongs to like the former office. retinue.
Could I make a roll to like see, like an etiquette roll to see how trustworthy these Ronin seem?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would that be etiquette or courtier
Etiquette, I believe.
or sincerity?
Investigation is used to oppose sincerity, deceit, if think they're lying.
Whatever you're comfortable with. Investigation makes sense as well.
Okay.
Apparently my ping has gone to terrible. I've got almost a half-second delay apparently.
Oh no.
It's pretty much the same roll for me either, so either one.
They're, from what you can tell, they're telling the truth, and they seem, they
Okay.
seem like honorable samurai. They don't seem like they're like con men or anything like that.
Honorable Ronin?
They exist, believe it or not.
Okay. So I say, well, I for one am quite curious as to what we can learn by investigating this Gaijin path.
Umbayashi says, "Well, I'll defer to your opinion."
How far is Gaijin Pass from here?
It's about a. Well, there's a. Before you get to Gaijin Pass, there's a town that's like the gateway to it, and then after that, it's about half a day's hike. So up the mountain a few hours from this town is the secondary town.
Is Ken still with us?
He was saying his ping was getting really bad, so.
Are you there, Ken?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, okay.
I think I've got a horrible delay at this point.
Did you want to try logging off and re-logging?
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Be back in a jiff. Well, all right. Just you and me. Let's continue on. We'll catch Ken up when he comes back.
Okay. So I suppose I have a chance to resupply at
yes,
this other town.
The packs that these 3 Ronin had, they were like specifically packed for use.
Oh.
They have like high mountain
so they have
equipment.
Okay.
So they happily turn that over as they receive the mission scroll from you pertaining to the Honey River.
Okay.
And they wish you the best. And yes,
I'll also relay whatever information we got from like our investigation in the office.
Oh, okay. Would you like to set up a place for you guys to meet up to? Because the Ronin can't go to Isawa
Right.
Kyuden and turn it in. So
Yeah, why don't we meet back here? Is this sort of like a good in-between spot kind of thing?
yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, why don't we meet back here in, I don't know, should I be like very conservative with the time frame, like in 2 weeks or something, or actually, why don't we just meet back here and we'll reside in the town until both parties return, and then you could give us what information you have.
Sounds agreeable.
Very well.
He gives you a samurai handshake. Heads off.
And they said they were reporting to Osako Jun.
Yes.
Okay.
If you know from it's doing the thing where it's you remember from your history lessons that Osako Jun used to be a Ronin before he was adopted or before he was married into the Asako family.
Oh, okay.
So it actually checks out for you that he has contacts within the Ronin world.
That is interesting.
And with that, you head up towards the secondary town that's a little bit higher up the mountain. This town's called the Dead Mountain, which is a very unfortunate name. It comes from the guy. There's actually a gaijin name for it back when this area was kind of taken over by the gaijin that lived to the north, and so this village named itself after that gaijin word. And then they found out that the gaijin word meant dead mountain, and they're like, "Oh, that's ominous." So the town is actually some unpronounceable foreign name. But
is this real? Is this real canon, or did you make this up?
I made this up.
Oh, that's cool. I like it.
But no one in Rokugan can actually pronounce the name, so it's just called the Dead Mountain this time. So you arrive there, and it's a very tiny town. It looks like it might be temporary. Oh, hello, Ken. Are you with us?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
I can hear you. Bada bing.
When I tried to rejoin, where it refused to authenticate joining the voice. Positive note, ping seems to have settled down to less than 100 milliseconds, so...
Excellent.
That's good.
While you're gone, Isawa Tasai set up a rendezvous point for the Ronin to give you their findings on the case once they were finished. And you guys also headed up to the village that was higher up in the mountain. It's definitely much poorer than, and this also isn't on top of a mountain. It's like a mountain range, and this village happens to be higher up in the mountain range. It's basically the gist. At this point, you guys have had to break out some of the gear that's been prepared for you as you're actually reaching the point where there's kind of consistent snow still packed around even in the summer. So you guys are wearing heavier kimonos and stuff like that. This town looks like it's pretty poor and doesn't see samurai very often. So when you guys come in, all the villagers scatter like rats, and they bring the headman out, and he bows very low to you guys and waits for you to finally address him.
We shall bow appropriately. Are we all set for supplies and stuff?
Yeah, your packs have pretty much all you need.
Okay.
the whole town like smells very bad because they herd reindeer, and they like not reindeer but like the deer in the area. So they herd filthy animals, and they eat like its meat. So the whole town like smells like red meat and fur, and you're just like, oh, kill me.
Gross.
Very gross. They say, Samurai-san, what before, I know it's not my place to answer questions without, giving permission, but there is there's another samurai currently residing in the village who bid that I inform you of his presence when you arrived.
May I ask who?
He did not give his name, and I was not of station to ask of it, but he wore a green and gold kimono.
That is most grown.
Where might we find him?
He's currently residing within my residence.
How long have you been in this village?
Oh, all my life. 34 years.
Some months ago, a group of samurai, perhaps similar to us, passed through here. Can you recall them?
Oh yes, the magistrates that passed away. It was we were all very very saddened to hear of their passing. We were all quite fond of them.
What can you tell me about that situation?
Let's see. They came into our town and stayed the night before they were going to complete the next part of their journey. On the other side of this range, there's a town about a day and a half's hike from us. And so in the morning they left to visit, to go to the next lake, and so they're heading for that town. One of their magistrates actually had to stay behind because he was suffering some sort of malady. So he stayed with us for several nights before he left, and he went back down the mountain. And then it wasn't until a week later that we found out that that they hadn't made it to the next town over. And so we were getting ready to prepare a search party, but magistrates from the he points towards the mon in your chest. They arrived to search for your comrades instead.
Did any of the magistrates look like this? And I'll pull out a scroll that is a copy of Asako's drawing.
Oh my, that is just exquisite art.
Isn't it?
My own capabilities.
Asako-san here drew it himself. He is quite talented. I think perhaps next Winter Court we shall enter him in many contests for his art.
And he goes, "Oh yes, this man." He points towards the male magistrate. I believe he was among their number.
He points to the male magistrate?
Yep.
Yeah.
The two suspects, there's one male and one female, and
Okay. I was confused by magistrates because they're not. So they were former magistrates. I see. Thank you. That is most helpful. Could you show us to your residence, please?
Oh yes, of course. And he scampers and asks that you guys follow him.
Yes, we do.
So, biggest house in town. It's got 2 rooms. It's very fancy. Smells pretty gross in here, but that's red meat for you. And as you head inside, there you see a man in a green and gold kimono. He has a daisho by his side. He's currently plucking away at some millet that he's consuming. He's got kind of a 5 o'clock shadow and a little bit of a mustache. He hasn't shaved in a while. But he's very handsome other than that. And he has his hair like loosely tied up into some sort of ponytail. And as you guys arrive, he stands up and he kind of has his hands on his daisho as he's waiting to get a feel for you. Greetings.
Greetings. You asked that we knew of your arrival. I am Isawasai. And these are my companions, Asako Hiroshi and Shiba Umbayashi.
Pleasure to meet you, Isawasai, Asako Hiroshi, Shiba Umbayashi. What caused the destruction of the Temple of the Seven Thunders?
I'm sorry, I do not know your name.
I am Miramoto Fang.
Precisely a man with whom we wish to speak.
I'm sorry, what was your question again?
What destroyed the Temple of the Seven Thunders?
Okay, so out of character, is he... he's referring to, like, the old...
Yes.
Okay. The old temple?
Yes.
And that was destroyed by Gaijin Pepper?
Yes.
Or that was destroyed by the... Oh, okay. It was... Gaijin Pepper. We found evidence of it throughout the caldera.
I suppose, having answered one of your questions, you might answer one of ours in turn.
Once you answer the question correctly, he kind of visibly relaxes, and he, of course. Sorry for my paranoia, but I've been quite on edge as of late.
It seemed from our brief investigation before all evidence was destroyed that something truly vile may have occurred there, and that you have given those individuals who met an unfortunate end a proper path to meet an MO.
He nods.
Do you have any idea what?
Does he have any idea what it could be?
Sorry, it's apparently starting to lag again. do you have any idea of what caused their
He says, from what I could tell when I came upon the bodies, the children were, and he pauses as he kind of gets a little downtrodden. It looks like they were worked to death. Many of them had open wounds on their backs and scars on their bodies.
That's truly atrocious.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And then they were denied a proper burial and placed in the ground like animals.
Who could have done this?
He gestures towards the table and he says, please have a seat. Maybe we should discuss things a little more casually.
Isua sits down.
As does it. Insane that.
So when I came to the mountain range, the caldera, because there had been children had been abducted from villages along the Phoeni-X clan borders.
I am familiar with such rumors. Is this phenomenon strictly in the Phoeni-X lands, or is this happening in the Dragon lands as well?
These abductions do not venture far into our land, but along the border, many towns have been afflicted with it. There are reports of seeing strange lights in the sky. Sometimes the clouds swirl into a whirlpool-like formation, and then children vanish from their homes.
Isua sort of perks up at this and stands upright and leans forward. What more can you tell me about this?
With some little bit of courtier work, we were able to learn that the Phoeni-X clan is also experiencing this problem, and the monks of Osanawo gave us information as they were passing through our land. They gave us information that there is a site in the Phoeni-X land where the forest was alight with the sound of children. And so I was sent properly with a travel visa and everything. It was legal. I was sent to investigate this claim. When I went there, I found what looked to be a training ground of some sort in the caldera. I found evidence of gaijin pepper being used and firearms being shot into trees, and I saw many tiny footprints in formations and in great bunches in the forest. And as I investigated the area, I came upon the old temple, which was covered, or which the outside was large mounds of disheveled earth was upon, and he waves his hands as he doesn't want to talk about.
It would sound as though you were describing the training of military exercises.
That is my belief. It looks similar to archery ranges of some sort. I imagine the idea is the same when it comes to Gaijin weaponry.
So someone is creating an army of blasphemy.
Yes, it would seem so.
Using the children of our two lands. That is horrifying.
And disgusting. Whoever would use youth as weapons.
Well, such a large group cannot stay hidden for long. How many children do you estimate were present?
The numbers are hard to come about. There is a great many number of footprints. However, if 16 of them were overworked or beaten to death or tortured or however they came about their end, if it was so many, I can only assume it's a great number. If there was many left after that.
That being said,
Hundreds at
I do
least.
believe the majority of these kidnappings were of peasant stock, not. I know not military matters, but is 16 a significant portion for those less suited to war than samurai? We among the Phoenix care for the peasantry, for we know of their inferiority. Truly compassion is one of the most important elements of Bushido.
Perhaps who is ever gathering this army does not know of that same inferiority.
Yet, I must ask whether, is he carrying a katana?
Yes. I think he just had a dice. Oh, okay.
Sorry, I couldn't hear over both of you at once.
Yes.
Yes, he is. I'd assume, being a warrior yourself, you have witnessed at times the training of Ashigaru?
Yes, of course.
Compared to a standard Ashigaru army, with the training that you saw, how many would you estimate? 16. Assuming Ashigaru specifically rather than a full army.
I would say probably less than a... Now I have to look up this number because I remember Rokugani army structure is a little goofy. I would say it was less than a legion of Ashigaru.
That is still a sizable force.
Yes.
Especially considering the use of Gaijin pepper.
Such a large force cannot stay hidden for long, I would think.
No, nor can they leave a mountain range completely undetected. And yet, no one saw them come or go.
Having been to the caldera, there was simply one route down from that area, and that was via the new temple.
Well, one route that we could determine. As I recall from looking at the maps of the area, there could be other passages that are less known.
This is possible.
Nevertheless, given the age of the children, such a passage would need to require a low degree of technical skill in mountaineering, I would assume.
I'd agree with that. It's easy to teach a peasant to, like, wield their spear, but it's much harder to teach them to rock climb.
I'm having trouble recalling. Did we find we didn't find any of the footprints in the area, did we?
You guys didn't look for them.
Oh, okay.
Which I was very disappointed in.
I thought I did make a search and I just rolled very poorly, but alright.
It's possible.
How did you know to find us here?
Asako Jun made an out of channel request that if I guess this needs like some pre-explaining. After I left the caldera, I was hassled by Phoenix guards on the border, and I was detained for a few days and questioned before finally diplomats from my clan were able to obtain my release. And Asako Jun has been petitioning my master for for me to come in and give some testimony about the case, and I've of course refused because I'm quite leery of what your clan's involvement in this situation might be. However, he offered that his office specifically was interested in getting down to the truth, regardless of clan allegiances. So I agreed if I could meet privately with them, without any oversight, then I'd be willing to make the journey.
Are your offices? Are you a dragon magistrate as well?
Yes.
You said something about the possibility of the Phoeni-X clan being involved. Do you have anything to suggest that we are involved in such a matter?
as I was formerly an Emerald Magistrate, and while investigating into this missing cases, I contacted some of my old associates, and I was able to look in to see the kidnapping cases within the Phoenix clan and what they report to the Emerald Champion. And I found that my own investigation compared to what the Phoenix clan puts in, I found that the vast majority of child kidnapping cases within your clan is it's vastly larger than what's reported to Imperial authorities.
I'm in a very awkward just realized because there's something I'm going to do that either have to dishonor myself or dishonor myself. And I'm trying to decide which dishonoring myself is going to end up being less terrible.
I'm going to roll an investigation roll just to make sure this guy's on the level.
Okay. Hey. He seems on the up and up.
Did I roll both of those just now? No.
I think the 20 was from before.
The other investigation was up.
Yeah. Sorry, my mouse is. I'm refusing to throw away a bad mouse, and sometimes it double clicks for no reason. So.
Oh, I know that pain. Yeah, he seems on the level, for sure.
Okay.
He seems quite affected by what he experienced and an injustice he thinks is being committed.
This is most troubling, what you say about our clan failing to report these kidnappings.
I agree. I also find it hard that a legion of gun-wielding children can go completely unnoticed by your clan.
Yes.
So while I mean no offense to you, samurai of the Phoenix clan, I think your clan altogether is hiding something tantamount to blasphemy.
I agree that it does strain belief that those children could move about without any notice, without the help, or without some sort of larger cover-up taking place.
Tell me, what do you think of Head Magistrate Asako Yuri? Have you ever had dealings with her in your attempts to investigate among the Phoenix back in your time as an magistrate?
I missed the tail end of that. Could you repeat it?
Have you ever dealt with her in your time as an Emerald Magistrate?
No, I have to check to see when she became head magistrate. One moment, please. For 10 years. Okay, then he was definitely a magistrate when she was. I certainly, I have had dealings with her before. In my time in the Emerald Magistrates, I visited the Phoeni-X clan a few times, and while I found that she is a very charming young lady, she seems more interested in being a courtier than dealing with crimes, or dealing with certain crimes in her purview. She seems effective in her work, but whether it's through incompetence or through willful ignorance, she has not been dealing. She's been dealing with the abduction cases very poorly.
I suppose this is by design.
I would not accuse a higher-ranking samurai without evidence, and unfortunately, I have none.
You speak of involvement in being a courtier. We've had specific issues attempting to get in contact with you as lower magistrates within the office, and to my sense, it was not due to anything on your end. How likely is it that she specifically was attempting to stimulate, given her courtier-like nature?
For that, he'll say there might have been some misunderstanding there. Your courtiers were doing all they could properly do to get a hold of me, but I was afraid, and I informed my master as such that if I was to go to the Phoeni-X clan, I might not return back. So your stymied efforts were entirely of my own design, and that of my clan.
Tell me, did you have any particular involvement in that band of Ronin we met previously? I cannot help feel that it is not coincidence that we were redirected here, precisely where you are.
I encountered them myself when I arrived in Tengu's Peak, and like you, I suspect I was asked to climb to this village and wait for your arrival.
That is moderately disturbing.
Iswa looks at Asako, giving him a look that kind of says, explain.
Someone arranged our meeting.
I believe it was Asako Jun.
This is true. I merely was attempting to determine whether... Yes, I suppose that does simply tie things up, actually.
God, it'd be so great if, like, the house exploded at that moment. It was all a setup.
I am afraid that I must break my promise to you. Oh, what was that? Umabayashi.
Just immediately. He throws his hands in the air.
Isua gasps.
In the interest of transparency, I must inform you that in my investigations of the leaks within our office, there is a direct path from our direct working to the head magistrate via Umabayashi.
Wait, so he's okay. I just want to make sure I have this right. Umbayashi is leaking information to Asako Yuri or Asako
Yes.
Jun?
Asako Yuri.
Basically jumping the chain.
Yeah. I'll look to Umbayashi. Why have you told Asako-san this and not me?
Because Osako-san knew it by talking to the universe.
Knew it by what? Oh, talking to the
universe. He knew that it was but a matter of time that he would be discovered.
Oh,
However,
This
if I
was
knew
sorta like-
he had such loose lips, I might have kept it to myself.
Isua kind of groans about that and then says, I could have kept a secret under his breath.
I was torn between duty to my direct liege and duty to the liege above him. But it is at this moment that those two are in direct opposition rather than simple misalignment.
Umbayashi-san, what do you make of Asako Yuri's motivations here?
Specifically?
Do you think, in your estimate, she has an ulterior motive, or a motive other than to gather information on what we are doing?
I think she's very concerned. She's very invested in you guys. Us, I suppose. I'm part of this office too. She seems very invested that we succeed in our mission. She's always very enthusiastic to receive reports on the progress, and to my knowledge has done everything she can to make sure our operations run smoothly.
And yet, it would seem Asako Jun has taken measures to withhold information.
Indeed, I don't want to disparage the word of this dragon, but I've been working for her as long as we've been working with this office, and I have to say that I don't see what he's talking about.
To be fair, we have not been with this office for very long.
To be fair.
What will you do now that it has become clear that Asako-Jun is taking steps to keep certain information about our office for only us?
Go ahead.
Well, it would seem that Asako-Jun, there's a possibility that he may be going behind the back of Asako Yuri by even sending us here.
That's almost assuredly the case.
Do you intend to share with Asako Yuri this information?
Absolutely. Asako-Jun is going beyond his station and attempting to circumnavigate the legal process. It is my duty to report such breaches. I mean, I will do everything I can to assist in this current endeavor, but once it's over, the truth must be known.
Yet I must plead that you change your particular belief on that. If the testimony of this dragon samurai is to be believed, Asako Yuri's primary concern is not ensuring justice is done, but merely advancement within the courts. Whereas this workaround may be motivated for Asako-Jun by a desire that is most heartfelt to ensure that these cases are actually solved.
This is true, and if you do feel like Asako Yuri is unsuited for her position, be it through corruption or whatnot, it's our duty to report this to the clan champion and have her take steps to correct the action. The motivation of our master has no place in how we execute the law.
I tend to agree. However, if the motivation is to allow a series of kidnappings to continue, then I believe that becomes problematic, does it not?
Certainly, I would never hope to. If I had, he flounders for a minute. Presently, the only evidence we have is the testimony of this dragon samurai, and while that's all well and good, even if he was a former Emerald Magistrate, he's not of a position to impugn the honor of the head magistrate of another clan. Is someone of equal or higher glory rank as Asako Jun was to put her, or Asako Yuri was to put her honor in question, then I might be willing to let this dalliance go. But as it is, a samurai who is no better than either of us is insulting the honor of one of our masters. And the fact that you guys wish for me to keep Asako Jun's actions hidden from our master tells me that you too think his actions are at the very least not proper.
I have made no such suggestion. I merely suggest that there is perhaps someone higher up the chain of command who does not seem to be practicing compassion and honesty in this matter. They seem to be acting dishonorably. But I do not know who it is. Merely that it seems there is some kind of cover-up. I hope I am mistaken.
As do I. But as we are in the midst of a turmoil at the minute, I don't want to give you my word until this case is finished, one way or the other. If what we find at the end of this case is, very dire, then perhaps I will agree to keep the details of the case hidden. I hope I made myself clear.
Tell me, Shiba-san, what precisely were you asked to report? Were you asked to report on the cases we were assigned, or were you asked to report all activity?
All activity. I keep detailed notes on the cases we investigate and how the magistrates go about it. I've given details about the unremembered man that you described in the tavern.
Shiba-san, I trust that you shall do the honorable thing when this is all said and done.
Yes, Isawa-san, I believe I will.
I believe I don't have anything else to say in this scene, I think.
I can't really think of anything else I can...
Sounds good. The Dragon Magistrate will say that he has one last thing to show you guys before you continue on to the next stage of the journey. And with that, he opens up the sliding door to the next room over, and there is a young boy who's sitting down on a mat on the floor, and he's kind of just like looking blankly into space.
What is this?
He beckons you guys inside and like slides the door behind him. So, I believe this has something to do with the case that you're presently on. According to the townsfolk, that I've been here for a few days. According to the townsfolk, this boy was in the area when the magistrates, disappeared. The night it was determined that they died, this boy was in the area. And he gave his testimony to the batch of magistrates that were sent up to investigate the death. And the magistrates talked to the boy, and then afterwards he's been like this ever since. And the boy's just like completely catatonic, and his eyes aren't moving. He's just like staring blankly into space.
I have a terrible traumatic idea.
Oh God.
Isawa-san, may I have those drawings of mine?
I am thinking the same thing as you, I believe. And I hand over those drawings.
I hold them up in front of his face.
He does not react. From all accounts, it's like his mind's been wiped completely clean.
Perhaps the void can tell you something, Asako-san.
That was my next course of action. I'm going to start with Sense Void.
Okay. The boy exists.
Let me just make my... I have to actually make the actual spell roll.
Yeah, I'm so confident in you, I forgot that you had to roll for that.
I mean, my chances of failure are very close to 0.
And I could use the Shiba stance also.
Yeah. What's the bonus on that?
I want to say it's 10. If I do both ways kind of thing.
I guess it's just a flat gig. Oh. Either way, yeah. I didn't feel anything. So the boy is whole.
Yes.
Could I do a physical examination of the boy? In other words, just kind of look at him, see if I notice any like strange marks or anything like that.
Yeah, he's a little, you look over him, he doesn't have any, like, lobotomy scars, or...
Any
like,
what?
Lobotomy scars.
Okay.
He's got, like, cuts and bruises on him, or not bruises anymore, but he's got, like, scars and stuff, but nothing traumatic you would wager a guess on.
Can I, if I put, like, I'll put something in front of his face and see if his eyes can track it? Or is he, like, completely catatonic?
Yeah, if you, like, put something in front of his eyes, he'll, like, look at it.
I have another terrible idea. I'm gonna grab my badge of office and hang it in his face.
He looks at it, but has no reaction.
What is your name, son?
Miyamoto says he hasn't spoken since he gave his original account.
Was anyone else present for his testimony to the magistrates?
No, they took this very office and asked it of him. And he says, the reason I thought this would be of interest to you, and it was interest of me when I heard about it in town, was because this very thing happened to me one time. I was investigating a case for the Emerald Magistrates within the Phoenix lands, and I arrived into town, and then 2 days later I left town, and I have no recollection of what time passed in those 2 days. And that's actually what got me discharged from the Emerald Magistrates, was that event.
Was it that you had? But what you say is you had no memory.
Yeah.
This child appears to be almost catatonic. Is he capable of speech?
If he's capable, he doesn't show it.
I must draw a
Well,
strange connection at this stage.
can you say that one more time, please?
I must draw a very strange connection at this stage.
Yes,
It's-
conspiracy time.
This may be of a similar nature to what you, I, and Shijenko experienced, Isawa-san.
I was thinking the same thing. Morimoto-san, have you ever seen these individuals? And I'll point to the scrolls that Asako-san has.
I have not.
They are excellent, aren't they? Are they not?
You know, I'm looking at them and they're very lifelike.
It's almost as though they could come right out of the paper that they are on.
I agree. You know, I hear the Shiba Artisan School, some who are very skilled can actually make that happen. Perhaps if you go to the Crane clan, they can bring that drawing to life and you can interrogate them.
Well, perhaps. Asako-san, what was it that triggered your memory of the people who wiped our memories?
I'm gonna need a reminder of that.
Let's see. I'm really drawing a blank on what exactly it was that.
Yeah, out of character, I don't remember either.
I
And-
bel
At all.
I believe
Also, out
Asako
of-
Jun said something about you guys reported it, and he said something about that being the report, and I think that was what triggered it. Or because then the Shadow Man gave you guys information on what you're going to report. Something along that nature.
And out of character, even once Asako-san told me what had occurred, Isuwa still can't recall it, right?
That's right. You you still have no recollection of what happened. Or you have your own interpretation of what you remembered happened.
And does my recollection follow basically what's described in the debriefing?
Yes.
Okay.
And so, Asako said, hey, that's a sword wound. And you're like, that would explain a thing or two. But I really remember getting attacked by a boar.
But come to think of it, I don't even have a bow and arrow.
Yeah. You definitely get, like, cognitive dissonance from remembering.
Right.
Well, with that in mind, I'll probably start repeatedly saying that is what you saw in front of the boy. See if that does anything. It probably won't, but
What are you saying?
that is what you saw.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, it was worth a try.
And the Miyamoto sighs and he says, perhaps I was wrong, but I felt very strongly that somehow this boy was connected.
I have one final idea. And with that, I'll start muttering strange void nonsense.
Love you. Well, that looks like a success.
I am going to attempt to find the link between the boy's mind and the boy's body.
Oh, that's going to be enigmatic.
So you, alright, you're staring at the boy, you commune with the void, you see a like, keyhole open up on his forehead, and you're like, I'm in. So you fly through the keyhole of his head, and, you see the core of his mind, a little shining ball of light like the sun, and his the inside of his head's like the solar system. Not as a Rokugani understands it, but perhaps as a modern person might. I'm sure the astrology is a lot different in Rokugani. Anyway, so as you're kind of floating towards this like sun at the center, which is his mind, a gate kind of closes in front of it and locks, and then another gate closes and locks, and then another gate closes and locks, and then kind of standing as a guard in front of the third gate, there is a man with no face, and he has like a naginata in his hands, standing guard.
I will try to find the key, so to speak.
Very cool. Yo, I keep on forgetting. Every time you ask a question, I'm like, alright, roll for it. And I'm like, wait a second. He already did. So you see, there is a, you see a Ronin presently. He's at he's currently in a room. There's two other people in the room. There is himself, the Ronin, who you don't recognize. He does not look like a Ronin you've seen before. and he's kind of kneeling in front of a girl who's also kneeling in front of him. And then across from him there is Isawa-sai, who is also kneeling and looking very interested. And this Ronin takes kind of his thumb, and he holds the girl's head in his hands, and then he like presses his thumb to her forehead. And then in your void mind, you can see the keyhole on her forehead open up, and you fly through there, and you see the 3 gates like getting thrown open. Actually, in her mind, there's only 1 gate. You see that gate being thrown open, and her mind coming back to her body.
Well, I'm going to strengthen the void around me, and I'm going to try and replicate that procedure.
Oh my god, so cool.
Nice.
Sweet.
Void is stronger in the area around us. Reality is thicker than it normally is.
So this is going to be a medicine roll, and I'm going to say it's going to be a... God, I want this to happen. I'm going to say it's a 30, because it seems like a pretty daunting thing, but I think you're going to make it.
I will void point it. I'm still quite likely to fail because I'm not very smart.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. Please make it. No!
Do you have luck?
I do not.
Now, hold on a minute. I think meditation,
Oh, okay.
because this is,
That I can do.
this is a little bit more of a spiritual thing than strict medicine.
I will void point that, even though I probably don't need to for that particular role. Asako sits across from the child and begins to meditate with his thumb on the forehead, waiting for the right moment to press it. Oh, for goddamn!
That's,
That is a bad roll.
Yeah.
damn it.
Let me just figure out how bad, what the probability is of rolling at least that low. Because that is absolutely terrible. Do, 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 do. If I set the target number at 19, the probability to succeed is 97%.
Wow.
So there was less than a 3% probability of rolling at least that low. I had a 2/3 chance of actually making that roll.
Well, looks like it was not meant to be, as this boy is
Yep.
trapped within his own mind for the time being. Well, that's okay. Things happen.
I have seen such a thing as I peer through the void as this block.
As this what?
But as this block.
Oh.
But what I saw was a much less severe lock than this boy has. What I can say with certainty is it is the man unremembered that placed the lock upon this boy's mind.
God, the man unremembered is such a good name.
That's what I used in my last diary thing.
Yeah, I liked it. Better than the smiling man, for sure. Well then, I'd say the boy scene is done. So are you guys ready to make a hike out into the wild?
Should we attempt to talk to the boy's parents?
Umbayashi shakes his head and says, "That sounds like a waste of time."
Okay. Yes, let us go to the wild.
No, you can talk to them if you want. There's some information they'd certainly have.
I feel like I'm getting mixed messages here.
No, I don't. I don't want to just shoot down an idea.
There is the question that remains whether Sako Jun intended us to fully complete the secondary mission, or whether the primary intent was simply to meet this.
To make
That said,
contact.
this is an opportunity to better it.
I would think that there would be information about our former excuse me, our former our predecessors in this past that perhaps we could gain. Thus far, we have very much been left in the dark regarding these individuals.
I had not considered that particular possibility. It would be prudent then to see what we may find out.
I would like to see this boy's parents just to see if they recognize any of the magistrates, or if they recognize any of the faces you have expertly illustrated.
You're now spreading the word that I am a great artist all throughout Phoenix Clan lands when I have no talent at all.
That's like the universe is gonna rely on like someone painting a picture and you're gonna get volunteered and just like no.
I'm just picturing like hundreds of years from now in the future, court years are going to be like, you know, studying Asako Hiroshi's 3 illustrations or whatever, and wondering what happened to the rest of his work. Lore masters are gonna.
Or better yet, actually finding some of his other work and thinking that it was an allegory of some sort.
Yeah, you're gonna be responsible for like spawning new kinds of art.
It's like Picasso and how his self-portraits got like more and more abstract as he got older.
Right. You're gonna have to start spending experience points into your artisan.
I think I am going to have to do that now. It's basically an inevitability. It wasn't part of my plans, but obviously drawing is his way of life now.
Yeah, the kami have spoken.
Plus, you know, that's so useful when you commune with the void. It's alrighty, so the parents of this children, they are also deer herders, so they're pretty hardy backwoods folk, but you managed to track them down. Would you like Miramoto to go with you on the rest of this journey, or are you through with it?
I am torn on the matter of that. He would be helpful, this is true, but him being out in the open and visible to all sorts of people when he's just been arrested and barely freed by Phoenix Clan people could be quite dangerous for him.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that up to him.
Yeah, that does seem the sensible way to do it.
Alrighty. He's going to go ahead and leave town. He wishes both of you the best, and he assures you that he's going to keep looking into matters on his side, and he hopes that you will keep him updated with your own information.
Yes, we'll make sure we have like a way to contact him.
Cool. You set up a secret messaging system, and he leaves you with the warning that don't trust Asako Yuri. Don't trust Asako Yuri. And
Right.
he heads out. So these, the parents of the children see you, and they look, visibly frightened because the last time magistrates talked to them, their child
Yes.
became catatonic. So they look pretty unhappy to see you and just very scared for their lives.
I'll I'll stop some distance away from them, and I'll say, I am Asawa Sai. There is nothing to be worried about. We mean you no harm. This here is my... these here are my companions, Asako Hiroshi and Shiba Umbayashi.
Hello.
We have a few questions for you. First, though, I would like to express my condolences for the state of your son here. I believe we are unable to, at this time, determine the cause. And you say before this he was a normal, talkative child?
Yes, very, very energetic boy. I was always wandering off.
I see. Once again, I am so sorry. One last thing. I believe. Have you... Do any of these three people look familiar to you?
So it's the two people in the painting, and who's the third?
Oh, maybe it was only the two. I thought it was the two people that that impersonated us. Although I guess we've learned one was actually a magistrate. So the two people that came and took Sai away, and then isn't the third person
Sai yourself.
Sai herself. Okay.
Oh, okay. So one of the two people that took Sai away is a person that told us about our memories or whatever, that fabricated our memories.
So they were both there when it happened, but the person that fabricated the memory was the man in the black kimono, basically.
Okay. And that's also the person that the person we first saw in the village recognized. Is that so?
No, that's a different person. One of the magistrates who took Sai was recognized as being a member of Office 34 when they came through last winter.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. But is it the male or the female?
The male.
Okay, so that's the one that affected our memories.
Well, not quite, but he was there.
Oh.
Probably the one who stabbed you.
Oh, okay. Okay. I see. So there was 4 of them then.
Yes.
Total.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we show those 3 pictures, although there's probably no reason for them to know Sai.
No, they don't recognize any of the people. But, you know, these guys kind of have a house away from the village, so they probably weren't in town when they were coming through.
Well, I believe that is all.
Any questions from Masako Hiroshi?
No questions, but he would make the comment that he does believe that it may be possible in the future to restore their son, and that when he is able and has the further training he needs to do so, he will make an attempt.
And they just, like, look so happy, and they, like, start crying over each other, and they, like, hug each other, and that's...
I know not precisely when that will be. As a samurai, duties do weigh heavy upon me, but I do endeavor to make a trip when I do have the time to do so.
Oh, thank you, Samurai-san. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. But before you guys leave, Umeyashi is like, did your son tell you what he saw? When he,
Yes. Yes, did he?
And, they're like, oh, he like, would never calm down enough to give us a straight story, but, he said when he was, one of our reindeer got out, and so, not reindeer, I keep saying reindeer. I know why I'm saying it, but I'm not going to say why I'm saying it. One of the deer got out from its, like, corral, and so he ran out chasing after it, and he was saying that over the next ridge, it was daytime. It was the dead of night, but he was saying over the ridge it was daytime, and he got scared and ran away. And then after that, we found out that the magistrates died just over the pass. So, you know, whatever that means.
Was there any sound associated? Did he mention any sound?
Can you repeat that?
Was there any sound associated with this light that he mentioned?
Let's see, a furnace? Sounded like a furnace burning.
And where were you when this happened?
We were both asleep.
So the sound wasn't enough to wake you?
No.
Did your son have a penchant for tall tales, as some children do?
Oh yes, he was just a great storyteller, but if it was a story, why would the magistrates be so interested in it?
I'm not sure. Well, I think that is all.
Yeah. All right. Then with your supplies in hand, everything ready, you go ahead and follow the trail that Office 34 followed just, a short 6 months ago. It's still like an arduous journey because it's like a hard mountain path to follow as you guys are going off. Also, one of you has a permanent wound, so that's not helping.
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask if I still had that.
You do.
Okay.
I haven't forgotten. It'll get taken care of at some point. You guys are, but you're trucking along, and you guys are tired just doing this, and you're kind of like, oh my gosh, it's the summer, and it's like, pretty pleasant. It's still chilly up here, but it's not too bad. You can't imagine doing this in the dead of winter when like the snow's 8 feet deep and just crazy up here. And so you hope that they get rid of that policy by next year, or else you might have to quit. Since nobody has athletics on their skill sheet.
I have athletics.
Oh, okay. Only one person will survive the trek. So after you're following the path a while, and eventually there is the kind of I don't want to call it a mountain because it's not that big, but there's an elevated earthen type thing, and on the other side of it, that's where like you find the scene that's uncovered. You're climbing up this ridge, and as you do, you notice that there's a kind of a placard in the ground, just like out in the middle of nature, and then like it's half a day away from the town you left, and it's like 1 day away from the next town over. So it's just like this random placard in the middle of nowhere. And as you go up and look at it, it says that no one's allowed. It's like under the order of the Phoeni-X clan magistrates, no one's allowed into this area for the next 652 days. And it like gives the date that this quarantine begins and when it ends.
And what are those dates relative to the current date?
Let's see.
And relevant to the case file.
Relevant to case file, it is like the day that they went missing is when the quarantine like on this area begins. Like the day they left the village to go on there to take on the next part of the journey. And you're kind of from on a vantage point, so as you look out over the area, you can see that every few hundred feet, another one of these like little placards is stuck into the ground, forming kind of a perimeter.
Asako-san, does this length of time mean anything to you?
No. Nothing comes to mind specifically. It is a very odd number.
Is there a lore roll I could make?
No, you guys would not know what that's about. Maybe one day, but not today.
What does the void tell you about this area?
Sense void. Not too far.
Let's see. Just from a cursory glance as you're on the perimeter, you don't notice anything out of place.
Have I ever heard of like these quarantine type things being set up?
This is the sort of not for 2 years. They would definitely
Right.
put something up like this if, a magistrate's coming into town within the next like week or so. And so these would be set up so no one like stomps over the crime scene or whatever. But you guys are the ones investigating this crime scene, and even then you're not supposed to be. So.
Well, Asako-san, Shiba-san, it would seem that we are under orders from Asako-jun himself to break this quarantine.
Well, to be fair, we ourselves are Phoeni-X magistrates, so we're not breaking the quarantine.
That is one way to look at it. And with that, Isawa steps forward past the signs.
Alrighty. You guys venture into this area for a few minutes, and then you guys start to notice a familiar feeling of the elements kind of just becoming hazy in this area. It seems like it's harder to breathe. Things just don't seem right in here, and Asako, of course recognizes that the elements are muffled in this area. What's kind of disturbing for you is that you're like, oh, this area is muffled, and so, you look around there for a little bit and you move on, and you keep going for a while, and the elements are still muffled. It's like a very wide-reaching cone of silence.
By the way, I am maintaining my spell as I walk.
You are? Okay. I will keep that in mind as we progress.
I would like to do an investigation roll just to check out the kind of surrounding area, see if I notice any footprints or tracks or evidence of gaijin pepper or geisha powder or anything like that.
Sweet. Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, so you notice, as you crest the other side of this slope, that's what they're called, they're slopes. As you crest the other side of the slope, you notice that, you see a tent, basically.
A tent?
A tent.
Yeah.
That was set up, it looks like a while ago, but it's it's kind of been blown down from the mountain wind, but it's set up there on the side of the slope.
I'll point it out. Look, there. It would seem a tent. It appears almost as though it has gone through the winter. I'll kind of trot over towards it.
Okay, so this is an 80-foot, whatever that means to Ken. This is an 80-foot, square foot canvas tent made for multiple people to sleep in. Inside there are traveling packs, much like your own. There's clothing strewn about. It's of course been collapsed, so there's some water damage on everything. Everything's pretty moist. But you notice there's also food that's on a stove that's been burnt. So there's they have their own portable little not stove, like a skillet that was over, a tiny fire that they had going in here. There's like food out, and all the food is still fresh.
The food?
Yeah, the food's still fresh. It's been, you can tell from when you go through these guys' packs and stuff. This is all stuff belonging to.
And I assume it's like food that would have gone bad.
Yeah, there's like
that would have.
Dried fish. There's fruit. There's like perishable stuff in here, and it's all still great to go.
And like the condition of the tent and the gear is like it looks like it's been out for a winter, basically.
Yeah.
And when I rummage through the packs, does it seem like the belongings of clan magistrates?
Yes, indeed. Everything except for basically, they're Phoeni-X clan kimonos. They're all like the heavy winter type. They've got moccasins or whatever the Rokugani equivalent is, because you're not going to be trudging through snow in sandals, unfortunately. There's journals inside these packs, and they all talk about the trip together and the journey. It very much points out what's going on here, and there are even the kimonos belonging to these people, but the kimonos all have like one of their mon, like the mon on the kimonos are like ripped off.
I will pick up the journals.
Okay.
And start looking through them, I guess.
Okie doke. So
I want to, at least for the moment, I want to pay specific attention to the last entries, and probably like entries from around the time they entered this area.
Okay.
And also, I want to see the names, if their names are in the journals, and if I recognize any of their names. And I will also transcribe their names into my journal.
Cool.
By the way, it is worth noting there are actually snowshoes listed in the...
Hey, perfect. Then those are there. Make a heraldry roll for me.
This is me?
Yes. And what's Asaka doing while he's reading through the journals?
Assuming I haven't detected anything new, I'll wait. Probably start looking around as well. Investigation type stuff.
Cool. Make a investigation for me.
I'm gonna void point it.
Okay. Okay, as you're looking around, you're kind of like assembling the scene in your mind. You're looking at things and you're like, all right, so the tent has collapsed, and you're piecing it together. And it looks like it collapsed because
Jeez.
months. Oh, hey, you've heard of these guys.
Holy hell.
It fell because there was like weeks of snowfall that finally like caved in. But you're looking for, what happened that night. And as you're kind of like looking around, you notice that there's a big rip in the canvas near the back, and you're like, that wouldn't happen if it just collapsed because of snowfall. And you actually notice it's been cut with like a knife. And you're like, all right, that's weird. And as you're looking at both sides to see how this thing got cut, and you see that the tent was cut from the inside.
That's very odd.
As for Sai, you're reading through this, and yeah, you do actually recognize, your dad teaches criminology. You keep up with it. You have all the magistrate baseball cards. These were all individuals who had like good careers in various parts of the, Phoeni-X law enforcement sector, and yeah. You've even heard a few of them were for Office 34, so this checks out. When they got into the area, one of their comrades, remind me to this week, and I'll give him a name, but for today,
Okay.
I have no name. One of their comrades had some heart difficulty, and so he couldn't continue. He had to give up on the journey. And so they left him in the village, and when he was ready, he was gonna descend the mountain. And so, they were sad about that, but they let him go. And they, after that, the journal entry all seems like very normal. They're all documenting their journeys, and they're drawing out diagrams of how they're packing everything so they can get their certification properly. In one of the journals belonging to the girl, the last entry, and it says, and now we know that snowmen exist. And there's no context for that. It's just like there. There's no notes around it, but that's the only thing out of place. Everything else seems kosher. Snowmen, yeah.
And I take it that doesn't mean anything to Iswa other than what it would mean to me.
Yeah.
Is there a relevant lore roll?
Yeah, you can definitely make a lore spirits or
Okay.
Lore winter sports.
lore winter sports, lore physical culture.
Yeah. These are not things I have.
Okay. So yeah, I'll share what I learned with the others.
Snowbitten. What's that mean?
Does it say the name of the man who couldn't continue, or the samurai who couldn't continue?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And so presumably he didn't die?
Yeah, presumably he made it out. The villager said that he left a few days later, so.
Okay. What was his last name? Or you just want to wait?
Please, just let me wait.
Okay.
But he is not the same person who the villagers recognized.
Okay. It is interesting that the magistrates of our clan came to this area, yet did not take down the tents, is it not? Also, what do you make of this food? it has not spoiled.
Spoilage is very strange indeed. I did not sense anything particularly odd in this area. Something unnatural is happening here, but it is not something that I am capable of detecting.
I'm going to look at the food and like take a closer look. Make sure it's like make sure it's not plastic food. No, just see if it's like, is there any like frozen, like frost burn or anything like that? Like, does the fruit or vegetables sort of like display anything like, does it look like it's been frozen even?
You can tell that they definitely like have been frozen. But you can also tell they've like been thawed out for a while and have not decayed after that.
Okay. Any takers? No, like pick up, I don't know. I'll pick up one of the fruit.
Umbayashi does not look like he will partake.
It is generally unwise to consume that seems to define.
I smell it. Does it appear normal in that regard?
Yes.
All right, I'll put it back down.
Oh. Okay.
Asako said it was unwise.
Yeah, he's pretty smart, so I'd listen to him.
You know, the funny thing is he's not. He's very average intelligence.
He's average.
Average for a samurai.
Yeah.
Well, shall we continue?
Let's. How's about you guys make an investigation roll for me?
Okay. Oof. Oof.
Huh.
See, that was my bad, because I wanted you guys to do this, but I made you roll for it anyway, and I was not prepared for a failure. So,
The target number was 5. You guys both succeeded.
You're right. That is what happens. So you guys kind of wander around for a while. You're you got your ski poles, and you're kind of like going through the shallow snow. You go quite a while down the slope, and you're trying to find where the other side of the quarantine is, just to like get an idea where your search pattern is. And as you're going through, you notice that there's no wildlife up here. No birds, no rabbits or anything like that. This place seems kind of abandoned by nature. And you're like, And as you finally find the other side of the perimeter, down the slope a bit, there is a forest that starts to grow, and it's a mile away. So the whole perimeter is like a mile from the tent. You notice something fairly strange. You notice that there are just 3 dead bodies at the edge of this forest.
That is strange. Is the perimeter centered around the tent?
No.
Okay.
Centered around the forest.
The perimeter was not far. Like, it began not far away from the tent. It begins
All right.
like just the other side of the slope.
I will take a look at the bodies. Sako-san, do you still have your out of character? I'm trying to think of how I could word this. Are you, Sako-san, are you still looking into the void to see what you can learn there about this place?
I had to drop my concentration to look at the tent. Let me begin to feel the world around me again.
I'll look at the 3 bodies.
Okie doke. So, all 3 of these bodies are males. Let's see. Around this area, there is a. As you're looking around, there is a tree that has been like stripped of bark. There's also the remnants of a. I guess you couldn't tell that. Oh, this area is weird. There's the remnants of a fire, and then kind of around that, you notice that there are, as well, these 3 bodies. They are perfectly preserved, just like the food. It looks like they died just hours ago. All 3 of them are like wearing what a samurai would like wear to bed, basically. They don't have any shoes on, they don't have any gloves, they're just wearing like, you know, the bare minimum of just like the samurai diaper, basically. Which in and of itself is weird because it was the middle of winter, so even if they're going to bed, they would have worn like extra winter clothing. But they're not decayed in the least. If you kind of like investigate the, all 3 of them have like their hands are really torn up. They've got scratch marks all over them. And if you investigate the tree, you see that there's lots of like blood on like the tree, and there's like chunks of skin like hanging off bark and stuff like that. And let's see, one of them you can tell.
You said there was chunks of skin hanging off the bark?
Yes.
Like human skin?
Yeah.
Okay.
2 of them look like they froze to death. They're in a like non-violent. They look like they fell asleep, basically. So they had like non-violent deaths. And the 3rd one is like laying face first on the ground, and there's like blood pulled up around his like, or coagulated blood like around his lips and ears and stuff like that. So he met for himself a violent end.
But I don't see any. Do I actually see like any cuts or anything?
Yeah, if you do a more thorough investigation, if you like take a stick and like throw his body over, you notice that he's like laying on top of like some broken tree limbs. And that his like stomach has like major bruising on it.
Are there broken tree limbs nearby?
There's a tree directly above you.
Okay.
And you guys are like, all right, that's interesting. Sorry, I was doing numbers real quick. So you're like, all right, we've got bodies, and so with the this is like your life for the next few days as you start trying to find the rest of them. These are the ones that like are farthest away from the tent. There are you in the following days you find 2 more bodies. There is so there's, I guess I could draw this out. Oh yeah, I forgot. I just like made a picture for this exact moment and then just forgot about it. Behold the mountain. So beneath the map, so this is like the slope, whatever. That's way too steep. It's a very steep slope. Anyway, so this is the tent. It's a very gentle thing here. This is the forest. Where there are 3 dead bodies here. And then, so if this is like here, this is like a straight shot. This is 1 mile.
Okay.
About 1.6 kilometers.
Yeah, about. You guys
I'm
find.
sorry, I don't use ancient antiquated units.
Yes. Further this way, you find 2 more bodies. Eventually, it's the body of a man and female. These ones, okay, they both have like broken bones. Basically, they died from like blunt force trauma of some sort, and yeah. The male has a skull fracture, and the female just has like several broken limbs. And then further up the mountain,
do I recognize any of these people? Are they wearing? So these are the magistrates, right?
yes.
Okay.
These 2 as well are also like basically in their underwear. They don't have any shoes on. They're just like almost naked out in the snow. And then you did recognize one person, okay, in the among the 3, you recognized like the leader of the group, the head magistrate of Office 34. Like the sergeant or whatever who was under Asako-Jun. You actually did recognize that he was the guy that who didn't freeze to death. He was the guy that like had a violent end.
Oh, so he was the one that like went to town.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then finally, just like a few dozen feet away from the tent, you find the last 2 bodies. These ones actually have like some scraps of clothes on. They've got like mismatched shoes and such. The dude froze to death from what you can tell. He's got like that sleeping position on. They're both like holding on to each other basically to share body warmth. The dude froze to death. You would think that the girl froze to death too, but she is missing her eyes and her tongue.
That's disturbing.
Mm-hmm. And if you do an autopsy on her, which why would you, but just for the fun fact, you'll notice that there's like blood in her stomach, which means that she lost it while she was still alive. Because she swallowed the blood, so.
Wait. Case 1, what bits were missing?
What?
Case 1, what bits were missing from the cows and the girls.
Kin's too smart. He's on to me.
I don't remember that. That was like...
Pretty sure that, for instance, the cow that was in storage was missing its eyes and its tongue.
That is correct.
So Sokka would point this out.
Ishua seems dubious. So you think the serial killer in that little village did this?
Not necessarily. There is the possibility that in his official final testimony, he was dishonorable enough to lie for his final testament. And that there was a differing reason than that which he stated as to why he did it that matches whatever caused this.
What might that reason be?
I cannot say that I have any knowledge of what it could be, though I'm wondering whether that one lore that I have now.
And one final note about the bodies for this info dump. You notice that they all have a strange, like, some of their hair is gray, even though they're like, some of them aren't old enough to have gray hair. And they all have a strange orange sunburn as well.
Perhaps the sunburn is caused by whatever the light was.
That does seem like a likely connection.
Morimoto mentioned kids being abducted after a light, or with a light of some kind, and now
I have another very, very strange coincidence.
I'm ready.
yes,
A strange light and people disappearing. Could not this strange light have been the same light that people believed was a thunderstorm? And that
go on.
if children can disappear in this light and end up in a different place, could this strange light also move such an army as was potentially being trained there? Could not a clever individual who had such a power combine the actions of moving the army with destroying all evidence of what happened?
I suppose that is possible. It also seems like many of these corpses have suddenly moved from where they initially were.
I do have an alternative hypothesis to that as well. When we were examining the tent, the cut to the outside was coming from the inside. What if one amongst these magistrates' number was not what they seemed to be? What if in the panic associated with this, a hole was cut in the tent? Those who were not different left the tent via this hole and were gradually hunted down by the creature.
What makes you think this was a creature that did this?
I speak largely of such things as shape change.
Hmm.
This is all a hypothesis. I have no evidence for any of it.
Perhaps when the light transported these people, it needed a way to get out of the tent, so it used a hole in the tent. But why would it not just go through the door?
Exactly.
There is much we do not know about this. Clearly.
And much we likely cannot.
What'd you last say, Ken?
And that we possibly cannot know.
Hmm.
Out of character, that first serial killer, what ended up happening to him?
He was a lot seppuku.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. And I feel like I specifically remember Chris asking us, what did you want to happen with this guy? And now it, yeah, now it seems like that's, coming back to haunt us.
So we're about at the 4 hour mark. Are you guys ready to wrap up?
Think I have anything else that I think do other than potential more conspiracy maps that probably will get more confusing answers than
Yeah.
Guys,
I'm just
we're so close.
confused.
We're so close to like the build up being over.
I'm just confused. I think actually a break would be good because I could like try to wrap my mind around this.
Okay, then we'll end the session there.